about the use of the mortar, fascinating buildings that play on astronomical alignments and panoramic views. To this day, many of Machu Picchu's mysteries remain unresolved. The Inca had no written language, so they left no record of why they had built the site or how they used it before it was abandoned in the early 16th century. More than 7,000 feet above the sea level, Machu Picchu is the most visited tourist destination in Peru. It was probably the most amazing urban creation of the Inca Empire at its height. Its draped walls, terraces, and ramps seem as if they have been cut naturally in the continuous rock slopes. The 700 plus ancient terraces at Machu Picchu preserved soil, promoted agriculture, and served as a part of an extensive water distribution system that conserved water and limited erosion on the steep slopes. The Incas' achievements and skills are all the more impressive in light of the knowledge they lacked. When Machu Picchu was built some 500 years ago, the Inca had no iron, no steel, and no wheels. On the eastern slopes of the Andes encompasses the upper Amazon basin with its rich diversity of flora and fauna. By 1976, 30% of the Machu Picchu had been restored and restoration continues. Machu Picchu was declared a Peruvian historic sanctuary in 1981 and was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1983 and was named one of the new 7 wonders of the world in 2007. Let us now discuss about its brief synthesis. The historic sanctuary of Machu Picchu is among the greatest artistic, architectural, and land use achievements anywhere and the most significant tangible legacy of the Inca civilization. It contains important flora and fauna, some of which are classified as endangered or vulnerable species. Machu Picchu covers 32,592 hectares of mountain slopes, peaks and valleys surrounding the spectacular archaeological monument of the citadel. It was not until 1911 that the archaeological complex was made known to the outside world. The approximately 200 structures making up this outstanding religious, ceremonial, astronomical and agricultural center are set on a steep ridge crisscrossed by stone terraces. Following a rigorous plan, the city is divided into a lower and upper part, separating the farming from the residential areas with a large square between the two. Now, the integrity of the Machu Picchu. The visual ensemble linking the main archaeological site of the historic sanctuary of Machu Picchu with its striking mountain environment remains mostly intact. A considerable number of well-documented threats render the property vulnerable to losing its future integrity and will require permanent management attention. Let us now discuss about its authenticity. Although the design, materials and structures have suffered slight changes due to the decay of the fabric, the conditions of authenticity have not changed. The rediscovery in 1911 and subsequent archaeological excavations and conservation interventions have followed practices and international standards that have maintained the attributes of the property. Let us now understand the protection and management requirements of the Machu Picchu. It is important to remember that the overall risks are aggravated by the location in a high altitude with extreme topography and weather conditions and thus susceptibility to natural disasters. Continuous efforts are needed to comply with protected areas and other legislation and plans and prevent further degradation. It is not as small as you might think. These Machu Picchu facts will surprise you. Number 1. Machu Picchu was an astronomical observatory and its sacred Intihuatana stone accurately indicates the 2 equinoxes. Twice a year, the sun sits directly over the stone, creating no shadow. The Intihuatana is a stone that was created by the Incas a calendar or an astronomical clock. Number 2. The Inca Empire was the largest empire in the pre-Columbian America. The Incas lacked the aid of wheels or animals to transport heavy rocks, yet built one of the most impressive kingdoms in history. The granite rocks used to construct Machu Picchu were extremely heavy, with weighing some over 55 tons. Machu Picchu was constructed with a technique called astronomical technique, which involves stone being perfectly shaped so that a mortar is not even needed. The stones are fit so well that not even a blade of a knife would fit inside them. Number 3. Due to its mountain setting, Machu Picchu can't be seen from the below. Consequently, it was one of the only cities built during the Inca civilization that survived the Spanish conquest in the 16th century. And this archaeological site is still well preserved today. Number 4. Locals of the region were the only ones to know of Machu Picchu's existence until 1911, when it was made famous to the outside world by an American historian called Urubamba from the Yale University, USA. Number 5. Machu Picchu is South America's most famous ruin and Peru's most visited attraction. As a result, there is no fly zone about the site, a visitor limit of 2,500 per day, and visitors must obtain a permit and a guide to hike the Inca Trail. Number 6. Peru is no stranger to earthquakes, and Machu Picchu sits on top of two fault lines. However, its intelligent design allows the stones to bounce through tremors before falling safely back into its place. Without the ashlar technique, it is believed that the site would have collapsed a long time ago. Number 7. Visitors who have done their research line up early in the morning with hopes of being one of the 400 people permitted to climb the Huyana Picchu. This is a small green peak shaped like a rhino horn, which often appears in the background of photos of Machu Picchu. Here, visitors can also find a secret temple. Number 8. The Incas spoke a language called Quechua, and many people still speak the language to this day. Machu Picchu means old mountain or old peak when translated from Quechua to English. According to historians and archaeologists, Machu Picchu was estimated to have a population between 300 and 1,000 people during the 1400s. These people were called the highest social class of Inca people, called Ilactas. Number 10. Archaeologists have been able to identify the three main structures of Machu Picchu. These are the Temple of the Sun, the Room of the Three Windows, and the Intihuatana. and in my next video,